So first of all is our core website of the consumerdatastands.gov.au. This is our main website. We have a number of links off to the standards, to the guidelines, to the support portal, as well as other useful pieces of information, including under our About section and under the blog section is where we publish our weekly newsletter, as well as when we release a new version of the standards. So if you're new to the industry, want to catch up on what's been changed, sorry, not new to the industry, new to the consumer data right, you can walk through here and check out prior publications of the newsletter as well. And so that is our main website. You'll also find the latest version of the standards here. You'll see in the middle. You can click off and that takes you to the website. The next most important website is the standards themselves. Now, this is the landing page. This isn't the often seen side of the consumer data standards. This is where we direct consumers when they land to view the standards. But also, if you notice down the bottom, because this is very much a landing page, is a couple of links. You have the home page, which takes you back to the actual standards. And then you have to the standards, consumer data standards main homepage. The standards on GitHub of where consultation happens. Maintenance on GitHub, and this is the maintenance iteration, which I'll touch on very shortly, and then the standards itself. So if you click on that bottom there, it'll take you to the standards website, which you all know very well and love very much after James and Mike have walked us through that. So that once that loads here, you get that view here. On top of that, as part of it, as I touched on before, there is the standards on GitHub. Now, what does that look like? Now, this is more or less, let me just jump back a bit. This is the Consumer Data Standards Australia on GitHub. Now, for those who aren't familiar with GitHub, this can be a bit of a, what is this? This looks very techy. This looks very, very much like code. It is used as a form of version management or repository for code. It's a very common, well-known in the industry. However, the perfect thing is it has complete transparency on changes being made, which is ideal for the standards. So here, if you see standards, if you can see, I know I've got dark mode on, I do apologize, is the view here. This is the actual standards, and this is all the source changes, all the source code for the standards and everything that gets published. So, for example, under issues, and I'm trying to walk through this, issues is here is a very important part of that standards repository. So repository is a little earmarked area of where it's a very specific based context. For this one, it is focusing purely on the standards. In here, we then expand out to each of our decision proposals and noting papers and other normative standards reviews. This is where the data standards body does its primary form of public consultation. So you might look at this and find this a little bit overwhelming, a bit hard. This is why Mike and James have been encouraging, hey, get in early and be able to be part of this whole process. Now, if you open up one of these decision proposals, you'll see it's got a name and a number attached to it, as well as a full description of what it is. And then further details are provided. Now, the format looks quite techy, the way in which you have labels, projects, etc. But if you think of this very much like a forum type platform, it's not too daunting. It just shows you every single change that's made along the way. Perfect example here. This was commented on this particular date, and you can see the edits on what was last made on this particular issue in question. Moving on down, each of these entries here show the changes that were enacted. So there's nothing being hidden here. This is all in plain view of changes being made to this particular issue in question. Moving down here, you then start to see that people come in, organizations here, DA Banking has come in and made a comment on this particular decision proposal. And this is what we talk about the public feedback or the consultation. We encourage everyone to come and read and make comments on here. There's no such thing as a bad or dumb comment that comes back. We look for constructive though, or positive, or ones that to move it forward, ones that are derogatory or stuff. We ask you to abide by GitHub's user behavior and guidelines. Otherwise, you can see they're posted here, got questions, they've got quotes of where they've highlighted pieces that maybe are not easy to understand or they want to focus on. It gives you the opportunity using what's called markup, which is more or less a form of adding formatting to your text to give it an extra flair there. This all has a graphical user interface that allows you to edit and make these issues. GitHub accounts are free to create for yourself, or you may want to make one on behalf of your organization to publish there. Speaking as someone who sat on the side of a data holder prior to joining the data standards body, I've had experience of creating, posting, going through that process, and I can very much echo what Mike and James says. It's very worthwhile getting ahead onto these processes and understanding what you can do as part of your organization to consult and add feedback. For me, it was once we had sort of consolidated feedback internally, it was to get it signed off by a senior manager before it could go publicly. But once that process had been established, we could turn around feedback within a matter of hours, and it was quite straightforward and easy to do. But we had to do that early. And I'll continue moving down. You can see a very large comment, and here there'll be a decision has been published. And this is the particular dates as well. Add some extra information. People add, sometimes ask for extensions if it's a particularly hectic time as well. It gives opportunity to consult and work with the team. I really have spent some time emphasizing around GitHub because this is our bread and butter. So I'll send these links around as well, and I'll skip over this. You can see I have quite a few tabs open. But this is the main change, the main form of consultation of where we make changes to the standards. However, there are also sometimes incidental changes, corrections, errata, sometimes some form and defects that need to be made to the standards. And that's done via our standards maintenance, maintaining it. So that is another way in which to engage. And that is a forum that is held on a fortnightly basis, run by the data standards body, and is open to all participants for all sectors to come in and be part of it. There'll be a number of particular issues here. So we can, again, open up this issues tab here. Again, this is just a list of anything like your ticket management software or your workflow management software. Very similar structure. Each has a unique ID. Each has ability to add attachments, description, rich text, etc. And through here, you can see there are a number of change requests. You as an organization who's participating or a service provider may see an opportunity of, hey, we should enhance the standards. How about we add in the support for a particular, maybe we want to add in, I'll get into trouble, but add Bitcoin or any of those particular ones in. If you want to add that sort of support, it can be proposed here. It doesn't mean it's going to happen because it still needs to be folded into the maintenance iteration, still needs to be worked on by a group of data holders, data recipients, the data standards body. Is this correct? Is this something that'll work? And that gets folded in and worked through. And if it's accepted, and work through as being something that is achievable to be included in the standards, that change will be then incorporated into the next version. And so this is an excellent stream for you to participate hands-on. This can be your engineers, your architects, your QA, your business analysts, a myriad of different members to come in and consult on it. And this covers CX as well. We don't see often a lot of changes in the standards maintenance for CX, but I always remind people this is an opportunity to also impact and influence the CX there as well. I'll just catch my breath. Now, that's a lot of stuff to consume. That's our consultation side. This is you giving us feedback, etc. Now, there's also the support side. So what do I do with the standards? I don't understand this part. One mechanism that we've put together is called the CDR support portal. Now, the driver behind this is that we get some of these great questions that we've had today, and we have experts who are answering them. But unless you're in this forum hearing that particular question and answer, that's not very useful for potentially your colleagues. They may not have access to it. It's highly unlikely that we'll include all the FAQ in a recording. I know it's a bit hard to transpose it, but what we intend to do in this particular platform, it's used Zendesk as the sort of platform that we've built it upon, is capturing all different pieces of knowledge. So, for example, here on the right, you see FAQ, or frequently asked questions. You can see here, we've been building this out for everything from accreditation, product comparator, the register, onboarding, consumer experience, standards, errors, rules, you name it. We've been working through each of these particular areas, and what we capture is particular questions and answers that are raised in forums like this, the weekly implementation call, the maintenance iteration, pieces that we identify as being very pertinent, we'll capture right up here into an official question and answer, and then publish it so people can refer to it and use it as an anchor. And so there's heaps of content on here. There's about 700 odd articles that we've written. There's a lot. One of my daytime jobs is to maintain all these different articles and keep them up to date. Some of them we've definitely been chasing. We also have guides here as well. Everything from the implementation guide, I do encourage you to have a look at that, through to how to use the banking product comparator. And this is just one of the mechanisms. Further building upon it, I'm aware of the time, we're quickly running out. We've got a YouTube channel that we've just started late last year, and we've been publishing different videos. This is exploring everything from a similar one-on-one session that we ran middle of last year, how time flies, through to we do release videos as well, where if you haven't had enough of my voice, you can listen to me walk through the changes, the latest version of the standards, as well as other informative videos. You can see James is up there, Hamung, who's from the energy sector, one of the architects there, as well as my face. We've got lots of interactive videos, and we'll be building that over time. So we'll be adding to this, making this available. These are very focused on informational and knowledge management based topics. Now, in terms of tooling, we have a number of different tools available. So what I have in front of you, and I know it was touched on earlier, was around product reference data. Now, this is the banking product comparator. It's for a different sector. However, I do want to emphasize this is a representation of this is just a demonstration. This is not used as any form of gospel or baseline. This gives a demonstration of how you can use the product reference data. For example, we've got the 4 majors presented here. You can view this is served from their live APIs, can be served through. You can select the particular product, and then you can also expand out. Sorry, I've had this page sitting dormant, so it's a bit slow. You can expand out to get the particular product detail as well associated to it. It gives you a demonstration. It's something for you to think through. You can also, if you are a bank and you're on the call today and you're not aware of this or not on here, you can also add yourself through here. So that we've got processes as well to support that, but you can see a large amount of the major and minor institutions that are included. Here are the CX guidelines. We touched on those before. A really robust robust tool. One caution there is that Notion is not always accessible through everyone's firewall. It is always good to check whether you can access it, and then seek out with your information security and firewall people, network teams, just to get access to it rather than getting caught out when you're in implementation. It's good to get ahead of the game and say, hey, we need access to this particular domain. Oh, still going. And then I touched on before, we also have a weekly forum. It's called the CDR implementation call. Again, I host this on a weekly basis, so if you can't get enough of me, there's another way to interact every week, where I have host a call with the ACCC and the data standards body, where we walk through various updates for the streams, as well as answer questions and have presentations from time to time. And so that's again free for you to join and participate, and it's a great opportunity to keep up to date on what's going on. And last but not least is our newsletter. So this is our newsletter you can sign up for. I'll again send all these links around so you can get access to them rather than madly trying to look at my URL box. But this is something that we put together on a weekly basis, send out updates from everything from updates to the standards, to the CX guidelines, to new videos, latest articles, popular articles, events upcoming, important announcements like designations of new sectors, etc. That's all included in that newsletter. So there's heaps of ways to become part, keep in contact, and engage with us.